We come back to the trope which seems to be just going on and on about Putin and whether or not he's alive. And it's the little details which are so fascinating. The Moscow press today betrays an absence because today, 25 years ago, Mr. Putin became president of Russia as Boris Yeltsin stepped down. Yes, indeed, on the 9th of August 1999, this little-known former KGB officer Vladimir Putin was plucked from obscurity by Boris Yeltsin to become Russia's next prime minister and later its president. But what began as a hopeful chapter for many has unfolded into one of the most consequential and contentious eras in modern history. And oddly, this milestone isn't gracing the front pages of Russian newspapers, perhaps because Putin's legacy is less a celebration and more of an unresolved question mark, perhaps because Putin is no longer there. Putin is something that has become an embarrassment in his own country. On New Year's Eve, 1999, Boris Yeltsin unexpectedly resigned, handing Putin the reins of a fragile Russia. Yeltsin's parting words, "Take care of Russia." This is the source of Steve Rosenberg's question to Putin in his end-of-year question and answer session. And take care of Russia, both a blessing and a curse. Back then, Putin was seen as a steady hand to stabilize a nation reeling from economic collapse, political chaos, and corruption. He presented himself as a pragmatic leader, a promise of order after Yeltsin's erratic governance and drinking. In his early years, Putin indeed brought stability. The economy grew, bolstered by high oil prices. He crushed the Chechen insurgency, albeit at an horrific human cost. He restored Russia's international standing. But these successes came at a steep price: the erosion of democracy, independent media, political opposition, regional autonomy. All of these steadily dismantled, replaced by what Putin called the vertical power, a euphemism for centralized autocracy. If Putin's first decade was marked by consolidation, the second was defined by confrontation: the annexation of Crimea in 2014, the full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, underscoring his vision of restoring Russia's influence, Novorussia, over its former Soviet neighbors. Yet these moves have isolated Russia on the world stage. Sanctions, war losses, demographic decline have created challenges that even his iron grip struggles to suppress. And domestically, dissent has been extinguished. Figures like Alexei Navalny have faced imprisonment or worse. The war in Ukraine has intensified his repression as Putin leans on nationalist propaganda to justify staggering military losses and economic strain. Meanwhile, internationally, his presidency is synonymous with cyber warfare, election interference, and the destabilization of liberal democracies. Observers like former NATO chief Lord Robertson note the metamorphosis of Putin from a pragmatic partner in the early 2000s to a leader consumed by historical grievances and unchecked ambition. Putin frames himself as the defender of Russian sovereignty, but critics argue he has isolated the country and squandered opportunities for modernization and integration. Putin himself claims he has pulled Russia back from the edge of the abyss. Yet 25 years on, Russia teeters on another precipice. Its economy under strain, its military overstretched, and its society fragmented. Whether history remembers Putin as a savior or a saboteur of Russia's potential remains to be seen. So as we reflect on this milestone, and there won't be another, as we reflect on this milestone, one thing is clear: Putin's shadow looms large, whether he is alive, whether he is dead, whether he's hiding in a cellar, whether he's hiding in a fridge, whether he's fermenting icicles and leaning against the frozen peas, or whether he's just counting his money in his various dacha. hidden away in the countryside, hidden in Rubliovka or Valdo. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because, like Schrodinger's cat, you can imagine Putin alive or dead, and both concepts are entirely believable. Yet, as Steve Rosenberg has noted, the question remains, did Putin truly take care of Russia? Or did he ensure its prolonged struggle under the guise of greatness? Did Putin take care of Russia in the sense that maybe Al Capone took care of his adversaries in Chicago? Did Putin take care of Russia in the sense that a father takes care of his children, in the sense of a great bird takes care of her young? Has Putin protected, or has Putin put Russia at risk? Will history look back on Putin with favour or with fear? Is Putin the bogeyman that so many people in the West believe he is? Or has Putin been misunderstood? My own instinct is that Putin has made a mess. In the lines of Frank Spencer, Putin's done a whoopsie, and it's going to take years to clean up the mess that Putin leaves behind. And just like a snail, there is a slithering trail of Putin's catastrophes. And they began in 2014 with his annexation of Crimea, for no reason than that he was greedy, for no reason than that he was ambitious. And as for the invasion of Ukraine, history will confirm that, again, there was no reason but his greed, his ambition, and his desperation to cling on to superiority. The days had gone when he could sit on a horse and take off his shirt and look macho. He needed to send in the tanks to do that. And that was a mistake. That was a major mistake. He tried it in Georgia, it was successful. He tried it again in Ukraine, and he met the resistance of somebody he'd dismissed as a clown. Zelensky has bettered Putin as a person, as a president, as a concept. Zelensky will go down in history as somebody to be admired. Putin will go down in history as somebody who has not lived up to the expectations that were placed on his shoulders, who has not looked after his country, who has brought the world to the teetering brink of nuclear annihilation. Putin will be remembered, but not for anything positive.